So first of all, thank you very much for your time. Could you please introduce yourself on the band Svalbard without using the usual metal labels, please?
Oh, okay. So I'm Serena Cherry. I play lead guitar and I do vocals in the band Svalbard. Svalbard have a very unique sound. I'd say we don't conform to one genre. Um, and we're all about creating music that's emotionally heavy as well as musically heavy. And yeah, like I think our sound is quite difficult to describe. We have many different influences from loads of different styles of music. But the main thing that I'd say is the most important thing in Svalbard is the feeling. And we're always searching for that kind of bittersweet emotion that pulls at your heartstrings in our music.
I definitely agree. So how do you personally link the name Svalbard, which is a place in Iceland, to the band's music identity?
I feel like the sort of frosty, cold, slightly kind of barren, unusual landscape of Svalbard, which isn't inhabited by many people at all, represents like our kind of cold, glassy, reverb-drenched guitars, and also the kind of the beauty of it, but it's like a raw beauty. So a place like Svalbard is, one of the most beautiful places in the world, but it's not kind of accessible in the same way that sort of maybe other touristy destinations would be. So I think that really encapsulates our sound. It's got this beauty to it, but it's also got a rawness there.
Okay, that's really interesting. So the band's fourth album, The Weight of the Mask, is nearly out in 2 months now. How do you feel about it?
I'm super excited to release this album. This is the album that's taken us the longest to make. So I feel like we've been sitting on it for a really long time and working on it. This is the hardest we've ever worked on music. We put quite a lot of pressure on ourselves with making this album, with it being our first release on Nuclear Blast Records, because we look up to that record label so much. We really wanted to create the best thing possible. So our approach to writing this time was very meticulous. We had to get very good at receiving critiques from each other about who, liked, if you liked my idea, or if our drummer didn't like a part or whatever. Yeah, it was quite a long writing process, but I'm so excited to have it released soon.
Okay, so maybe you had some feedbacks already?
We've had as in, so when talk about critique and feedback, I'm talking about the band members.
Mhm.
So when we're writing together, I'll come up with a riff and Liam might not like it, or Liam will come up with something and I won't be able to fit anything over the top of it. So that's where we really had to get used to sort of like really working with each other in that kind of questioning everything that we did and everything we wrote. Does that riff need to be there? Does that lyric add anything? Those sorts of things. We have received a little bit of feedback already as well, and it's all been really positive, which is great.
Okay, so how would you sum the album identity with only 3 words?
That's a hard question.
Sure.
I'd use the word contrast,
Okay.
uh, sort of heartbreaking and aggressive.
Okay.
I say the word contrast because I feel like this is an album that has a lot of contrast in the songs. It's got some of the heaviest songs we've ever written and some of the softest songs we've ever written.
Okay. So how did the composition process happen for this album?
So how we work together is we all get in a room together, and we don't sort of work long distance, even though we all live in different cities now.
Mhm.
We still all meet together in the same room. We like to do it old school and jam ideas. So usually we'd turn up to the studio with I'd have a riff or Liam would have a riff, and then we would work together on building those songs. You know, he'll come in with his riffs and I'll write all my leads over the top of it. And then from there, we build the music up, and Mark would add his drums, Matt would add his bass parts, and then we would argue about each idea for about 5 hours. And then once all the music was written, which took about 2 years, then I did the lyrics at the end because I like to match the lyrics to the atmospheres of the songs. So I prefer to write the lyrics when all the music is written.
Okay. So while talking about the new member, Matt Francis, he joined back in 2021. How is it to create music with a new person?
It's funny to hear Matt described as a new person because he's gelled so well, so quickly within the band that it feels like he's been in the band for a lot longer. So he sort of a few weeks in, he didn't even feel like the new guy. It was very comfortable, which is great. Um, and if anything, it's just been a super positive change because having like a fresh bass player in with a new perspective and new ideas and like stuff that they want to contribute is it just keeps things fresh, and it's really nice to have a different perspective on the songs that you're writing. So it worked really well. It was so easy. He understood what Svalbard was all about right from when he joined.
Okay, that's really cool. So what about the artwork? Did you add some guidelines or anything on how do you make it match the music?
Do you know what's amazing is I found the artist Hester Aspland, and she made a t-shirt design for us, which was fantastic. And then I asked her to create the album artwork, and I gave very, very simple guidelines. I think it was like the title of the album and the sort of emotions behind it and what I wanted to convey. And she created that album artwork you see straight away. Like she did that in one go, which is absolutely amazing. She really understood what we were trying to convey with the album and the lyrical themes. So it was absolutely amazing working with her. And she's got a lot of symbolism in there, like the sort of the pile of flowers and the roots and everything, sort of burying the person to symbolize how you can feel sort of buried alive by depression, and then the mask being the sort of a mask of a dead animal to sort of represent that loss of innocence and hope and that disconnection from nature. So yeah, there's a lot of meaning behind her artwork, and she did a fantastic job.
Okay. So where do you personally find the inspiration to create music?
Um, the things that inspire me musically mostly are video game soundtracks.
Okay.
Um, that is my biggest musical influence. When I pick up a guitar, 9 times out of 10, I write a guitar lead and then I go, oh no, that's from Final Fantasy. So I'm always looking for that kind of emotive quality that really takes you on a journey. And that's the thing I feel you get the most in like the Kingdom Hearts soundtrack, the Final Fantasy soundtracks, the Skyrim soundtrack, the World of Warcraft soundtracks. Like they're so evocative to me. And it's almost like a different language that speaks personally to my heart alone. And
Okay.
when I'm playing guitar, I'm searching for that same feeling. I'm searching for that same kind of almost like bittersweet, like, yeah, kind of, but sort of uplifting at the same time as melancholy emotion. So that's where a lot of my musical inspiration comes from. And it's interesting because it's not obvious. You wouldn't listen to Svalbard and think she's influenced by Skyrim soundtracks,
Definitely.
but yeah, that's where it comes from for me.
Okay. So, as you said earlier, Svalbard's music is made of an important contrast between pure quietness and visceral violence. How do you achieve to create such a balance between all your influences?
It's not easy to create that balance. And that the balance that we sort of strike, that is the thing that takes the most time for us to figure out. That's the thing we work on the most. We don't want to overload a song with sort of brutal heaviness, but we don't want the clean sections or the more atmospheric sections to feel forced. And having so much contrast in a song, but also allowing that dynamic to feel natural is very much a kind of delicate process that requires a lot of sort of thinking and questioning when you're creating a song. It takes us a really long time to write a song. And I think, yeah, striking that balance and that contrast is one of the hardest things that takes the most time. But I think we've got a feel for it. And it sounds really cheesy, but when you know with a song, and it just feels right and everything kind of falls into place.
Okay. And how do you decide to use screams or clean vocals?
A lot of the time it will be based on the specific lyric and the feeling of that lyric. So, say, for example, on the song How to Swim Down, there's no screamed vocals. And that is because there's no aggression on that song whatsoever. That is a love song. And I wanted to encapsulate that kind of feeling of like sort of softly, adoringly singing and delivering these words to someone. Um, there you can always tell when you read a lyric whether it's a screamer or a singer. Um, and we always I try to tend to pick the more beautiful, more kind of love-filled lyrics to be the ones that are sang. And then it's the lyrics that are really angry and aggressive and frustrated and desperate. That's the lyrics that become screamed.
Okay. So maybe you have a favorite song on this album, or maybe the hardest one you created?
My favorite song on this album is How to Swim Down. It's also my favorite Svalbard song we've ever written, which is interesting because it's probably the most different song we've ever written. But I like that. I like, being unpredictable and not, I don't want people to see, oh, Svalbard's got a new song out and immediately be able to guess how that's going to sound. Um, it's my favorite song because I love the violins that Liam added on it. I really like the sort of my reverb drenched leads, how atmospheric they came out on the recording. It's my favorite vocal performance that I've done, and lyrically, the song really means a lot to me. So I think yeah, and it sort of pays tribute to loads of other bands that I like as well, like Alcest, Anathema, Riverside. Like it's it's our kind of it's our love ballad.
Okay. So do you think you improved yourself as a musician and songwriter with this album?
Yes. I mean, I actually had feedback when we were in the studio. Lewis Johns, the producer, told me that how much my vocals had improved since the previous album, and that's because I worked really, really hard on them. I started going running and swimming to develop my lung capacity and to develop my control. And then that really came out in the studio where I was able to convey much more emotion in the screams and able to kind of not blow my voice out and really get the power of the scream out onto the record. So that was definitely an area where I noticed. I always push myself with my guitar playing, but at the same time, I don't want to play something that sounds complicated just for the sake of doing something that sounds hard to play. I
Mhm.
think everything should be about serving the song, and a lead doesn't need to have loads of notes or be played really fast to work with a song. So yeah, that's it for me personally. That's definitely, I'd say my vocals is the area where I've really noticed an improvement, and I've worked really hard on them for this album.
Okay. So I saw the band twice on stage, last year at Motocultor and this year at Hellfest. How do you feel when you're going on stage?
Performing on stage is my favorite feeling in the world. It is the thing I live for. It is when I'm on stage, it is the one time I am not crippled with social anxiety. It is the one time the black cloud of depression isn't overbearing on me quite as much, which makes me feel free. As soon as I'm up there, I feel so empowered. I love standing there with my three bandmates, some of my closest friends, and sharing that experience with them. It's always magical to look across and see your bandmates lost in the moment too, and just to be playing at full volume, maximum power. That is the most magical thing in the world to me, and it is the thing I live for.
Okay. So, how do you feel like playing in France?
Oh, we love it. Like Hellfest is one of my favorite shows we've ever played. The atmosphere when we play in France, if it's a club show or a festival, there's always like such a passionate, warm crowd. We always feel like a really great reception. And yeah, we can't wait to come back and play in Paris in October.
Yeah. About playing in Paris, so you have a European tour planned for October. How do you get prepared for this tour?
I download a lot of games on my Nintendo Switch. But in seriousness, in terms of me personally preparing for tour, a lot of it is again about fitness and making sure I've got my lung capacity. So I will go running and swimming a lot before we go on tour, just to make sure my voice is in the best shape it can be for the shows and to make sure I don't lose it. Sort of watching what I eat as well to make sure we stay healthy. And yeah, we do a lot of rehearsals to make sure the set is right. We'll be putting new songs in this set for the first time, playing new songs from the new album. So that's going to require a lot of rehearsals to get it right.
Yeah, definitely. So, how does the Brexit affect the band while about touring?
Oh, it's a massive pain in the ass. Brexit has been so detrimental for UK bands. It means that now when we come over to the mainland Europe, it costs us three times more money. We have to spend loads of time filling out lots of paperwork just to be able to get across. It's really, really difficult. We yeah, struggle financially now, which is crazy. We're playing the biggest shows we've ever played in the mainland, but we're making less money because of all the fees and the difficulties and the red tape of Brexit. So yeah, hate it. I hate what it stands for. I didn't vote for it, and now I feel like we as a band and every other band from the UK are being punished for something that they definitely didn't vote for. It feels very unfair.
Yeah, I understand. But it's also hard for European bands to play in UK, of course. It's the
Yeah,
same problem.
yeah, exactly. I mean, the UK isn't the most supportive of countries, so not a great landscape for live music at the moment.
So about other bands, is there any musicians or artists you would like to collaborate with?
Oh my God. All the artists that I want to collaborate with don't sound anything like Svalbard. So I'm a big power metal nerd. And I think Tommy Johansson from Majestica has the most beautiful singing voice. I would love to write a song that he would sing on. I mean, he is also a phenomenal guitar player as well. So maybe, yeah, have him play guitar and sing on a song would be incredible. Same with Floor Jansen from Nightwish. Like I'm really drawn to those epic, powerful singers. Um, and I would love to hear that kind of what that would sound like with our sound. I think it would be so different, but cool.
Definitely would sound really cool. So this album is the first with a Nuclear Blast. How does the collaboration happen?
Um, Nuclear Blast reached out to us after the success of our third album, When I Die Will I Get Better. We were really surprised with some of the reviews and the critical reception that that album got and the number of listens and streams. Like it was, our third album was a big leap up for us in terms of how well the audience received it. And I guess Nuclear Blast noticed this too, and they got in touch with us. And it was like a dream come true for me because all my favorite bands are on that record label. So it was just such an honor to explore the opportunity of working together, and we're really excited for the future with them.
Okay. So if you had to organize a release party for the album, which band would you like to invite to participate to the release party?
Oh, as in like so a show that we're playing and we can pick bands that play with us.
Yeah.
I would pick all our like our bands who are friends who we have come up through the scene together with. So I would pick Employed to Serve, Ithaca, Harriet, just trying to think of some others. Yeah, actually just those three bands would be great.
Oh,
Just
that's cool.
yeah.
So the last question now, it's a funny question too. With which meal would you like to compare the band's music?
Oh. I mean, I'm really bad with food. I basically just eat noodles. So I'm probably not the best person to ask this question for. I would say I've never been asked this. Wow. Uh, maybe something kind of sweet and sour, like a sweet and sour rice or something.
Okay.
Uh, because it's got the beauty of the guitar leads and the hopefulness of some of the melodies, but then it's also got the sour, which is, the bitterness of the lyrics and the sort of the intense heavy side as well. So yeah, I'm gonna say sweet and sour rice. Uh,
Okay. That's a good answer.
thank you.
So as I said, that's the last question. So thank you very much for your time, and I let you the final words.
Oh, thank you so much. It was really nice to talk to you.
Thank you. So
Thank
we will
you.
see you in Paris, of course.
See you in Paris.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Have a nice evening.